Here we are. All right. So, ladies, we are going to start at the beginning of color and pastels. Rumi, you might have seen this. I might have referred to this in.
It's like I start from scratch, everything.
Yeah. So I talked a little bit about this. The first thing we're going to talk about is the most important rules about color and the color wheel. So I want you to take a yellow, any yellow, and I want you to put it here at the top. And then I want you to take a red, any red.
Yellow.
No, let me see if I have yellow, because this color box may not be necessary. This is beige.
And then a blue. And I want you to put them in kind of a little triangle shape like this.
I'm gonna use a red line.
Is it only us that we have?
Yeah, this is.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there is. Okay, let me see what you.
There should be a yellow, a blue, and a green.
This is not yellow. This is an electric neon.
Why I think that was a good color idea, I don't even know.
Sorry, I'm picking my colors.
Take your time, you guys. This is the beginning. This is the fun part.
It's not a very red. Yeah, it's crumbled.
So I finally bought very good quality pastels, and it does make the difference.
It makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You'll want those other ones. Those other ones are important. And guys, I want you to notice that I have a little box here, usually the top of the lid. So when I use a pastel, I put it in that box. If I put it back, I will forget where it is. So
If
it's
you
a
put
good
it back,
thing.
What can I do?
It's just the top of the box. So it's a good thing to have a place to put the pastels that you're using, because if you put them back, you won't remember which one it is. We're going to go into a slightly more complex assignment after this, and you're going to want to keep track of those. So this is a good thing to notice. I know we're all working flat on the ground. I'm going to show you if we have time. If we don't have time, this one, we'll do it at the next one.
dirty already.
For more complete pastels.
I am dirty already. Okay.
All right. So you've got your three.
Yep.
Yep.
Like in a triangle. Okay, so these are the primary colors upon which every other color is mixed. So if I mix these two together, red and yellow, what do I get?
Really?
Purple.
Red and
Red-
yellow.
Red and yellow is orange, okra type of.
Red and yellow is orange.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna like lay down. I'm gonna mix my red and my yellow, and between, so see, I took these two to mix my red and yellow to make an orange. I'm gonna put it between them.
Mom, I need an orange.
No, you want to mix well, you can take an orange pastel. if you want.
It's not super orange, but
Grown
yes.
up? Well, it might depend on the color red that you're using.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yellow.
Oh, yeah,
my
you
red
can-
is very pigmented.
Mine is
Well,
all
that
red.
should be a pretty
But
good,
look, it's quite. You've done
But
quite
it
well.
looks like, look, it's not.
Oh wow,
that
you've got
bad.
really rich orange.
oh, so yeah, so what I would say is less red, more yellow.
Mm.
So I want you to learn how to mix. And so remember that one color will overpower, sometimes it's about one color overpowering another. And
Yeah, okay. This is
So it's not like you don't use them equally. You mix them depending on
yeah,
what you're trying to achieve.
right.
Is this one like an orange? I can't tell.
This is burgundy red. It won't give you orange.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what you want is something that's very either kind of.
I need to make orange.
Just like when you mix now blue and red, you get purple, magenta type.
Tiny bit of red.
Right.
Tiny
So
bit.
blue and red, right. So that's the next thing. When you're finished making your orange, you want to mix your purple. And I'm going to see how it works with this one. And whether I've got the right blue.
This color. I
That's
already
okay.
put this one in.
But look. ooh,
Yeah, I got a pretty good purple off of these two.
I need blue. Should I put more blue and then a little bit of red?
I did that. I did a bit, but no, I didn't do a lot of either, to be honest. because they're such
Yeah.
rich colors.
I'm not saying that this red doesn't make, well, it's an okay purple. It's a little bit mauvey.
Yeah.
Like me.
I might, so this is the point where I introduce the idea, where we introduce the idea
Hey, I
that
did
not all reds are the same.
Not all reds are the same.
Right.
Darling.
Some reds have more orange in them. And if you mix them with blue, they'll create a kind of green or a brown. Some reds have more pink in them. And those reds are the ones you want to use. Let's see, like this one is a pinkier red.
I almost got her in the face.
So if I mix this with blue, I'm going to get something that looks a little bit more pinky.
Yes.
More purpley. So the difference between these two reds is that one is warm. This is warm. And this is cool. So all colors on the color wheel have warm and cool variants. Every single one. And so it depends on what you're trying to mix, right? As you're going through. I'm not trying to overcomplicate this. I'm just
Oh, it's very
it's
basic.
that, like when you're trying to do basic mixing, right? These are the things to keep in mind. Not all reds are the same, not all blue. So there are warm and cool blues, there are warm and cool reds, there are warm and cool yellows. There are also neutrals, but we'll get into that. But in any event, this is purple. And then, of course, what do we get when we mix blue and yellow?
Green.
Right. So let's see how I am often starting with the yellow, drifting in just a little bit of blue. There we go. Very nice green. So with this, we have the basic color wheel. Go ahead and make me a color wheel using your colors.
Mine is not really a real, but a
Yours is
wheel.
Really green. That's super nice. Mine is not.
So if you're not getting the sort of desired effect that you want, think about shifting out one of the colors. You can put it like I did just next to. So I had to shift out my red to get like a purple that I really wanted.
Mine is
Mhm.
not gonna be really a wheel, but something like that.
Well, practice this idea. Go ahead and repaint it if you want to.
What is the red?
Okay, I want you to redo it.
Okay.
It's looking like that. It's important actually to get it's important to get things in position, and you'll see why in a minute.
I need more yellow.
Are you having fun, Ailey?
Are you having fun, Aileen?
My hundred are D.
Does that mean yes?
I
Probably.
Girls, are you having fun? Nats, are you having fun? Are you having fun, Rumi?
Always.
I'm 45. I don't know what fun is anymore.
You're about to find out. How's that?
Okay, so they're sort of a wheel.
Yeah, perfect. Wonderful. Wonderful. So what about you, Rumi? You got one? for me?
I'm getting there. I'm redoing
Oh,
it like you
nice.
said.
Yeah, redo it. And while you're redoing it, watch why I have you do this. So here is the important rule about the color wheel.
I lost. What did I supposed to? The
You
green.
will notice that
Mm.
are colors that are opposite each. So these are called the primaries, red, yellow, and green. From them, we make every other color. We mix every other color. These colors that are between, where we mix two primaries together, they're called tertiary or secondary colors. So when you put them in a circle like this, you see that there are three
Mhm.
colors
Mhm.
that sit across from each other. We have three color pairings. So when you do this in a circle, you'll see that the red is right directly across from the green. Yellow is directly across from the purple. Blue is directly across from the orange. So there's one primary and one secondary pairing. These pairings are incredibly important. These are what we call complementary colors.
I guess it's a wheel. So we can.
Mom, what's the H and
That's such a cool
the
pet.
C for?
It's a W and it's
Right.
about
They
war.
are red and green.
So are we supposed to do that? In
No,
my,
no. It was so see how the blue and the orange are complementary. The red and the green are complementary, and the purple and yellow.
Right.
So
You're
when you
actually using these combinations all the time.
Is this
All the time.
Purple and.
This is
yellow.
what I want you to see, Rumi, that these are actually, they have a relationship that's visual, right?
Are we supposed to write?
Where they
If-
are.
Yeah, darling, but you don't have to. Remember, this is our
Green.
class that you guys are. hanging
You
out
do
with.
not have to write anything. I'm writing this down so you can read it.
I know how to read English a bit.
Yeah, you were pretty good today.
Purple here.
So notice that when I put, let's see, red, when I put a complementary color pairing next to each other, they pop each other forward. That's why a lot of street teams, like teams and schools, all use either red and green, blue and orange, or purple and yellow, because it's very easy to see. Here, I'm just going to use green at this point because it's easier to show it. It's very easy to see those things. And of course, Christmas colors are red and green. So these things pop each other forward. So when you're working with an area that you want to come forward on the canvas, you will put complementary colors next to each other to kind of push that to happen. So blue and orange, let's see, here's blue. You can see the blue and the orange when you put them next to each other. Super poppy. They pop each other forward. I'm actually pulling now sort of pre-mixed colors, right? So you could do that too if you want to. I just pulled a bright green and put it next, bright orange and put it next to my purple. And now I'm looking for a really bright purple. Let's see if I can find one. There we go. So when I put these next to each other, they pop. But if I take my finger and I mix them together, they create a kind of neutralized, grayed down version of the other. I'm going to take a picture. Oh, I should create a thread for us. I'm going to do that right now.
Blue and orange.
Give me a second. I'm going to create a thread.
Should I use this one?
If that's what you want to use, darling, go ahead.
So we blend them a little bit.
Blend them together in the middle and see what you get. You're going to see. I'm going to take a picture and send it to you. So hang on. I'm going to actually make us a new WhatsApp group with just us. So I can send this to you and you can look
I
at it.
got purple.
That's a nice. color.
It's because your hands are dirty.
Rumi and yeah.
He's like, oh,
I can't touch my phone right now because my hands are.
Yeah, don't worry. I'm just going to send this to you so you can look at it. I just want you to be able to see it more.
It's like-
strong. It's
like
just
a
sometimes
photo.
tough. Here, I'm going to take a picture of
green
Yes.
and red.
chart so you can really see it. These are the complementary color pairings. Here are the primary. I'll put it back up on the screen in just a second. Here we are. Let's see. How do I get back? Sorry, I know I'm like not back. It's hard to. All right, here we go.
With Ashley.
I don't really like mine.
when did you put
You
that
don't?
shirt on?
Before we started.
What is it for? Like university?
Oh yeah, it's my old university
Student
team
netball.
top. Yeah,
Oh, why is it on the?
because I kept it and would paint with paint in it.
Are you gonna paint?
No, we were painting with.
All right, I'm going to leave the meeting and come back on this one. I'll be right. I'm going to leave on this because all of a sudden my camera stopped working on my phone.
Are
Hang
you
on.
taking a picture within the chat?
Yeah, it's in the chat. Right now, it's in the chat.
If you take the picture outside of the chat and then send it to the chat from your camera, because that happens to me sometimes, it doesn't work within WhatsApp. I don't know why.
Well, now I can't get it to come back, so I'm gonna have to leave on this. Here, hold on, I'm just gonna leave the meeting on this second camera and come back to it. Where are you? How do I leave? Yeah, okay. Leave the meeting. Hang on, I'm gonna pop back on. So weird. Do you girls use an Apple or do you use Android?
Apple.
So would you recommend the Apple over the Android?
Totally.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I am part of the board and
Yeah. Once you eat an apple, you can
yeah,
eat
Yeah,
anything
it's it.
else.
that's it.
I'm at this point where like, here, and hold on, I'm gonna spotlight this so you can see it. All right, there we are, back up. So these are the most important color pairings and the most important rules of, which is that, here we go. If you're trying to create a shadow of a lemon, you don't put black in the shadow. You mix a little bit of purple into your yellow. If you're trying to make a shadow of a purple eggplant, you don't put black in the shadow. You mix a little bit of yellow to create this neutralized version. If you're trying to draw or paint or pastel in orange, you don't put black in the shadow. You mix a little bit of blue in with your orange. That's how color mixing, complementary colors work. And that's how all color mixing works. When you're trying to create a kind of neutralized, for example, when you're working on landscapes, almost all natural greens have a little bit of red in them. There's no tube green, there's no pastel green that really conveys natural colors. You have to mix them with a little bit of the complement to kind of knock the, and the reason to do that, you're going to hear me say a lot in class, knocking things back or pulling things forward. And what I mean by that is we have this flat surface and we have to create the illusion of depth that I can go down and up, right? That I can look back and forward. So I do that by knocking, by graying down and neutralizing certain areas and popping with color other areas so that the color pops come forward and the neutralized areas recede. So that is our magic trick for creating the illusion of 3 dimensions on a flat surface. Crazy, right? Like really, that's why drawing is not a natural, it's not a subject you can just pick up because you have to in your head understand this translation that's happening. And that different things are happening than you think are happening, right? That's why, as Ailey was saying, it's hard to draw. Like, that's why it's hard to draw, because like we have to change how we're thinking about a thing to create the illusion of depth. So does everybody get that? Does everybody have some kind of neat little mixes here?
Yeah.
Then we're gonna start.
Oh.
Okay. I'm going to have you do a very simple exercise.
Simple. It already looks
Don't
important.
panic. Don't panic. I swear, don't panic. I want to show you. I'm going to walk you through all the steps. So the other thing to know about drawing and painting in pastels is that pastel colors, and I'm going to do some testing down here so you can see it. And you're welcome. This red is not, if I lay a red down, I'm not going to have the same. Can you see how these things aren't really the same?
Yeah.
This looks very rich and deep. This looks kind of flat. Even if I get a warmer oranger red, let's see if I can find a warmer oranger red. Even if I get an orangey, I might have to get my other. One thing to learn about pastels is that you need a lot of them really quickly. There we go. Even if I have an oranger red, like here, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look the same as this. It doesn't have the richness and the depth. So what's actually happening there? We are actually mixing, there's actually more than one color on this pastel. And by the way, this is my favorite French painter, symbolist painter, Audouin Redon. So when I start to color this in, I'm going to actually look for something that I can't see on the top. Maybe something like this, kind of a bricky color. And then I'm going to layer colors on top to see if I get something that's a little bit richer. See the difference between this and this? This has a little bit more of what's going on here. Although I feel like this is a little too dark. I'm going to put it back and maybe add in this. So this is kind of a lighter brown. And if I lay lighter colors on top of that, I feel like I've got a bit more of the orange happening. So there's always going to be a color beneath the color. And the only way you're going to really figure out if it works is to test it on a piece of paper that is not your drawing. So as we start, this is we're going to start very simply with just four, there's four here. Basic shapes. So over here, I'm going to do this drawing with a pastel, and I'm going to pick a pastel that's kind of light. I don't want to do this with dark. I'm going to block off an area for my drawing. Here's my border. And I don't want a dark one because the dark won't, I can show you. If I do this in black, I can't really, that black doesn't really go away. Can you see that? But if I do something in this color and I layer colors on top, it'll sort of blend in and disappear. Better than.
Do you want us to draw with the marker, the
No,
shape?
no.
Nothing.
I
Just
want you to
straight-
watch what I'm doing. So I'm
Yeah.
using a pastel here, right? Like this, a light kind of orangey pastel.
Mhm.
There we go. And then this is like, and I am only doing the flower shapes. Let's see, I'm going to push this up a little bit so I have more room for my flower here. So this is all I want you to do your drawing with only, so block off a piece, have an area for testing. And all we're doing are these simple flower shapes. You're not even drawing the petals. We're just doing the simplified flower.
It's like a Mickey Mouse.
It does look a little bit like a Mickey Mouse.
I like it.
His little hand coming up here on the side.
Something
Exactly.
like this.
Yeah. Well, no, look at
No?
this. This flower is a little bit more square.
Mm.
Really pay attention to the shape, right? See, you went Mickey Mouse and then you immediately like, you know,
Ears.
kind of do Mickey Mouse. I mean, it's like, try to, instead of thinking about what a thing looks like, try to think about what the actual shape is. This one is really much more kind of roundish. This one's kind of more square. And there's a space between these two. And really, I didn't leave enough room, so I'm going to bring this down a little further so I have enough room for the flower. So you're looking at these flowers. I want you to really look at these flowers. And then once you've got that, you can get in the shape of the, right?
What are they?
This,
Great.
and this shape, and maybe this one too. So you can get in that kind of dark shape. And this one's a little bit to the left. And then here is. So you have the basic sketch. of the major pieces of this flower. Just very simply. Yeah, Rumi, I had everybody work with newsprint and just regular pastels for the first month so they could learn blending. So the technique you came in was a different technique after people learn how to mix, right? After you learn how to mix colors. You can hear some of them were like resisting it because they didn't, you know, we were doing something different. So they were like, wow, why are you making us do that? And then notice as I find colors I like, I'm putting them in my little box here so I can find them again.
That, yeah, I found another strategy, yes.
Yeah.
I just-
Or
I
like
just
put them on a little place.
leave them sticking out.
Oh, there you go. Perfect. As long as you can find them again, it's just so impossible to find them again.
That
When
was
you
like,
guys have the shapes, hold them up and I will take a look at your drawings. Or you can take, well, don't worry about bothering. I'm only going to send you stuff across the thread. I want you to be able to see really clearly. So great. Great, Rumi, great.
That's
Yeah, I'm redrawing it because I felt like I couldn't quite.
You can use a slightly different color if it helps.
Is this okay?
Yeah, it's perfect.
that's really nice.
Okay.
Oh, Charlotte, are you over there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've been so quiet.
on the screen, but she's here.
Now, Natalie, that's great. You've been so quiet. All right, so now I want to get I'm going to work one flower at a time to get my base. So what I'm going to start looking for, and I think I found it in this brown, I'm going to come down here and test and see if I can get a kind of red. I know that just using a red will not work for me. What I want is kind of a base, which is this kind of light brown. And then I'm going to lay colors on top. And I kind of like how that's looking. I'm going to want to lay black on top to see, will the black look good on top of that? It totally will. And then the last thing I want to look at is whether I can get this kind of blue color, whether it will sit on top of that testing area. Do you see, this is like two colors. This color,
brown, brown.
it starts with this color and then it moves to this color, right? That's the base upon which I'm going to do everything. And then
Try using one of these.
Yeah,
colours.
I'm trying to find the brown. Do I have brown?
How about for the red?
So
start testing a little bit.
we
see-
start the brown and then put a bit of orange on top, right?
Yeah, orangey red.
Yeah. There's the brown.
Here, Amy. Okay, that's okay. Well,
So once I think I've got that, then, only then do I come here and everywhere,
A little bit of brown.
get this flower covered in the first color.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
you
What did
just
do
have
with
to
that?
use the
I
brown
did
to layer
this,
orange.
and then I did orange, and then I did this, and then I did a bit of that, bit of red, and then orange.
Check you. Okay, I'm gonna totally copy Charlotte.
Copy Charlotte.
Yeah. See,
All right.
Charlotte
So we
is like
start
one
with
kind of
these
colour,
two.
and you break
That
that
it, we
down.
start with these two. Number one, number two, everywhere.
Wait, I'm lost.
And then we layer in.
What did you put next, Charlotte?
Oh, one
Okay.
second. Let me get mine too.
Okay.
Great job. Guys, do you mind if I run, get a little quick refill of my coffee? I'll be right back.
Then go wild. Enjoy the coffee.
So what you have to do?
So
I'm lost.
we
wait.
have to layer.
Yeah, I
down
layered.
for the
Okay, the
for that
brown, the
main
brown
first
for
flower.
the.
and do the whole thing. Ailey, when you're finished your flower, your whole first flower, I will. Actually, I'm gonna use it after you, Charlotte, because you.
So we
Yes,
start
we
with,
do.
once
Oh,
again,
Ailey,
and
you
here's
need
where
to-
I want you guys to really get, I know we've got a lot of fast thinkers in this group, so you're gonna leap forward. But I want you to kind of slow yourself down and really pay attention to process, right? Because the process is different than you think it is. And when you've got a quick mind, like the mind wants to jump ahead and go forward, but with no real idea of where it's the left brain wants to jump through, get forward, and it doesn't really know what it's supposed to be doing. It's just guessing, right? Because it has no experience in this new constructed.
For the inner circle, with the lighter blue and purple, you're using a warm blue and a cold blue, right?
No. I want you to look at look at what's happening here.
Yeah.
Everything. Oh, I see. So when you're testing it,
I mean, for the blue, yeah.
I mean, it's purpley. Take a look.
Yes, purple and ice blue.
It's kind of a bluey purple. You might use two. You might use a darker blue and a lighter blue. You might be able to find it with a purplish color. Test it. And this is black here on the sample. This is black on the sample.
So when we color the first big flower, we color everything. We don't leave the circle, the second circle empty and then color it additionally.
Exactly like what's
everything and layer on top of the already colored part.
Exactly. Exactly. Just like what's happening here. And that's why you need to test your blues on top of your little patch of these first two colors. You want to make sure that you're good.
Paint it everywhere, all over my laptop, all over the other colors, everywhere. So just. blow it
So
gently.
pastel is a layering technique,
Yes.
right? And
Maybe
that's why,
we-
Rumi, you were like, I'm not getting the colors that I want, because it's about layering, right? And there's a color underneath that you can't see, but is impacting what's happening to the colors above. You'll see that these colors mix, right? They actually kind of mix together.
I can already see
Black, orange, and this
putting
red.
the brown, by putting the brown on top of the beige, I already see the beige under it. That's the second inner circle.
Say that again.
Too much orange.
No, I said, although we designed initially with the lighter.
on it.
Oh, yeah, you
beige,
can still see
Yeah.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
see it.
Absolutely. Which is helpful, right? Because you're going to end up covering that in a
Yes.
dark colors. But it-
Last time I
you
used the
really-
marker. Mhm.
yeah.
I'm doing good.
I mean, if we really wanted to make this disappear, we might do the sketch in this color, the brown, because you're going to use the brown in this purple flower as well, believe it or not, for the base. I'll show you that when we get there. So once you get your base, your first two colors
What color is that?
down, hold it up and show me. And give me just a second. I'm gonna make myself a little bit more hot water.
What is this?
We haven't done that one yet, darling. You
I
can
know,
see.
but it needs this circle to be bigger.
Ah, okay, this is the one that you use to draw that circle. So, didn't
So
understand.
mine is more orangey than
Yeah, I feel like I did.
but then if we put the beige on top, it will probably brighten up.
Don't put the base on top. You want the base at the base. That's why it's
So
the
far,
brown
it
is at the
orange.
base. That looks great. Nice. Very nice. Beautiful. So
Oh,
I blended brown
How is-
with red.
How is this?
is that Charlotte?
Yeah,
It looks a little, is that just one color or is it two?
it's like 3.
It looks a little brown to me. Can you get a very bright red to go on top of that?
Maybe
Try.
really
You
dark.
have
Can I
a bright
just
red
have a
that I
bright
could
red?
It's
love.
looking it's looking less bright than I'd like to see it. And probably you'd like to see it. Ultimately we want a color that's vibrant, but not overpowered. That's why we do the testing down here, because if you guys noticed, I picked a darker color, this one, for my
Yeah.
first test. And it kind of, if you can see, so here's this dark color.
Yeah.
It kind of overwhelmed. When I did my test, it kind of overwhelmed my other colors.
Yeah. Okay.
So I went with a lighter automatic, so I know that on the test so that I don't lay it down and then it's kind of a little bit,
Is this better?
that looks great.
Like,
like-
similar?
I like it.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
everybody else ready to go? Are we ready to add our second layers, our centers?
Yeah.
So now, I'm gonna take a black
Black.
in the center here,
Mom,
for a little bit to the,
No,
actually,
I'm just wondering if it was.
So I need to check my phone and see what.
and I don't know if you can see this, there's this kind of little edges around that. Then I'm gonna go in with my purple around the edge. Like this.
Black or blue?
That's
And
black.
now on the edge, purple.
And that purple's a little dark, so I'm gonna layer a little bit of lighter blue on top. So that's what you were asking. Hey, Rumi, are you an analyst? Do you have any analytical? Do you analyze data and things like that?
Not in that sense, but I'm extremely analytical, yes.
There, I can see it. I can tell by your questions. Hi, this is really good. Because you're really, I can tell by your questions, all like, not everybody is aware of the steps.
And I'm very into art and creativity, so it's not
This
easy
isn't
to
weird.
handle me all the time.
Well, here's the point. There isn't a logic to art, and now you need to learn it. So what I like is and it's a different logic than the logic that, and look at what happens here as I do this. All of a sudden, this flower becomes kind of alive. I haven't even done any petal shapes yet. So I can tell by the way you're asking questions that you're trying to logic through, and and it's good because it's going to help you to like figure out the different logic of drawing and painting. It's very logical, but it's an entirely different system than the one you're used to, which is verbal and connected to the brain, right? It's connected to our
I'm a pencil drawer, so for me, colors is something difficult.
well, the way I like to think about it is it's just there are different rules that like have to do with visual spatial reality. It's different than the verbal side. So our verbal side, which is very dominant, particularly for you, you probably speak 4 different languages, like, right? Like totally fluently. To be to 6, I'm not surprised. So to speak 6 languages fluently, you need to have a picture in your mind of
I always
an
need to
image,
draw
and you're
something.
attaching it to a word, right? So that doesn't help you when you're trying to draw something because you have these concepts in your mind associated with that image. So, and you're adding to them all the time. So you know 6 different ways to say the word hand. And you also know, like from last week, I'll do this for the kids since they haven't really seen it. Right here, right? We know what size is my head related to my hand. What's bigger?
Your head. Your head's
Right.
bigger.
What about now?
Your head's bigger because perspective.
No, my head is not bigger. Now my hand is bigger,
Your hand is bigger.
right? So, but did you find but see, you see that like what happened was the verbal side immediately added in to your head, a hand is smaller than a head. And so when you try to draw it, if you know what this is and you know what this is, it makes it difficult because you have these ideas in your mind around it and you're quick to add to them, right? So what we want to do is not think about what this is. Visual spatial doesn't care what this is, doesn't care what this is. The rule of visual spatial are totally different. When the hand, whatever's closest to you is bigger. Whatever, as it moves farther away, it gets smaller. It's a completely different logical, it's completely logical, but it's a completely different logic system. So that's what when we're working with flat surfaces, we're trying to layer colors. We think we know what we're seeing, but we have to teach ourselves, oh, nope, there's a whole construction to this idea. So I think you're gonna like it as you get into it, because their rules, they're just different rules, right? Than what your left brain would think about. When you guys think you have this, go ahead and show me.
Well, who goes first?
Can you show mine?
Oh, that's beautiful. Beautiful. Lovely. Absolutely lovely.
This is Ailey's.
Oh, Ailey, that's beautiful. That's gorgeous.
This is
That's
mine.
yours.
Olive.
Yeah. All right, Natalie, where's yours?
Take mine.
Yeah, guys, you got it. You got it. So notice our flower has a kind of funky shape. We are eventually going to fix that, but not right now. We're going to move to the
So we're fixing it. It's not just a.
this one.
Like, thought we were sticking with one.
So
Okay.
I'm going to move this over here. We don't need to look at our red flower right now. So now we're going to do a different set of tests. And I think we have all the colors we need here, but we're going to do something a little unexpected. I'm going to try, I know that if I just layer this purple down, it's not really going to give me, it's not really warm enough to cover what's happening up here. It's a little bit cooler. So I'm going to try laying down some of this same brown that I used for this lighted brown. And then I'm going to put a purple on top. Ooh.
Mm.
Now that has kind of richness.
Way to pastel. What's the correct way to color? Do you use the tip or you just go upwards?
Yeah, what's
When you're doing the bigger blocks, you use the side,
Okay.
the way I'm using. When you're trying to create sharp lines, you use
Uh-huh.
the tip.
Yeah, the tip. Okay.
But I like to use it most of the time. You'll see, particularly at this stage, because we're covering big areas. So look at the difference. This has a much warmer. So I know that when I start this, I'm actually start with this brown. I know it's weird,
That's
but I
nice.
start
Mine.
with this brown.
This
And
one should-
then I'm gonna layer my blue over the
Some-
top.
Just
Fine.
break it in half.
And then I'm gonna put my light purple over that.
Get out of this uniform. I like it. I like it.
I'm not very sure what you're asking me. Erin.
I do like it.
Right,
So-
and I'm gonna come in with.
This
my-
purple, okay?
Yeah, I love that. It's gorgeous,
Casey.
right? And then I'm gonna lay in my dark. And notice I still haven't done my petal shapes. Those are coming later, but I'm kind of, these should both look a little bit like fried eggs of different colors. Or flying saucers or something like that.
They're all different. Green eggs.
Green eggs and ham.
Just they're not.
I've
green.
laid all my colors down. All right, I'm gonna go get some coffee. I'll be right back after pour it and brew the beans and. do all that.
See, darker brown makes it much more, yeah.
Richer.
I see.
I'm
maybe.
not using dark brown because I couldn't find it.
But her brown is not dark brown, that's dark brown.
And this is more orangey or hold
Mine is
here.
more peach of a brown.
And this.
Okay, I'll risk it, I'll do it.
Okay, that was not really the color. I was wanting. Should maybe have done the test. As recommended. Hmm.
Sue me, mother, not doing the test.
Yeah, no, remember when Auntie Leah was talking about those people that rush ahead?
That's you, mother.
Yes. We're going to be polite and not like name and shame me, but it's okay.
I mean, she should have, but
I thought she was talking about me.
How's it going, guys? Right, it's helpful, isn't it, to like be able to back it down. Next week, I want us to do a whole bouquet.
Yes, I was
Me.
waiting for this.
With brown.
Yeah, so, but I wanted to tell, what, this week, we need to really test it, right? Let's like kind of learn the basics, and we'll probably do this bouquet. So you have some kind of like, you kind of remember at least how to do some of the flowers.
Yeah.
Right, because that's the, so we're gonna do that next week, but I wanted us to really get into this idea. And you're gonna be messy,
I only have half of the black. The other
Yeah,
half
yeah,
is
don't-
disappeared.
be messy.
This is black, but it's covered in various other colors.
Yeah, and your pastels will become, it's good to have a little cloth. So you can actually wipe off your pastel.
Yeah, here, I have so much, I have like.
I mean,
bulk bags.
they're messy as, they're ridiculous. Listen, it's fascinating. I resisted teaching pastels for a long time. But because they're so messy,
Yeah,
but with them, you cannot beat them for color.
They're so, the color
They're
is
so
incredible.
beautiful. They're so beautiful. And every time I do it, I'm like, yeah, I know why I do it. And then I'm like, it's so messy.
You're gonna do some more sets then, that would be amazing, because
It's funny, I don't have that relationship anymore. I should see if they still, the guy who, Terry Ludwig, who runs, I'll be dead honest with you guys. The guy who runs Terry Ludwig, the guy who does these pastels, he became very right-wing in the
Oh.
last 4 years, and it creeped me out. So
I
I was like,
someone else then.
oh, though there's nobody else who does what he does. His company, they all hand build these. They're beautiful. They're the most beautiful. They're expensive too. Like they're beautiful, they're expensive, and they're totally worth it. They hand make every single pastel in all these beautiful colors. But I don't know.
You're funding Trump, so yeah,
I mean, it's like he just got creepy and weird. And maybe it was just because he's getting old. I don't know. Maybe it was just.
We're all getting old. If I
This
get
is
creepy and weird
Amy,
like
don't
that,
snatch
just-
things from my hand.
Yeah, I'm gonna work on you, Nats. If you get creepy and weird like that, definitely we are gonna talk.
imagine if between
I will
you
pull you
two
from the
and
abyss, but it's hard to imagine you ever getting creepy. and weird.
left wing, when it comes
Oh,
to,
yeah, right.
she's very Lula.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't really imagine that.
Yeah. No, given that Lula gave us Graziano,
Exactly, I always argue that, so I don't talk about it.
I mean, look, I'm from a very socialist.
Who's
country.
Lula?
Is the former president of Brazil
Oh, God, yeah.
and the current one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is he not back? Yeah.
Oh, well, your,
Okay.
I don't know why mine is such a structured shape. It's not messy.
I love the structure though. I love the shape of it.
Let me see, hold it up.
Carlos is quite similar.
Up.
It's so gorgeous. So you
Oh,
can
it's
see
beautiful. It's
the
lovely.
the
Yep,
colour.
you got it. It's great. That's perfect. You're getting it. Look at the richness of those colors. It's beautiful,
Mm.
Rumi.
It's so delicious.
Who else wants to show me?
Go
In
to the-
fact, I'm gonna remove the spotlight so I can see better. Hold them up.
Oh.
Hold them up. You go.
Wait. I
Oh,
love-
beautiful. Yeah. Gorgeous.
This is like an
Really?
art therapy session. I love it.
Yeah. Ailey, great. Great
Yeah.
job. You did a great job. You
That
know how to
girl-
do this? Let's see
You're
Charlotte.
almost 7 and look at you. Look at what you're
Let's see
doing.
Charlotte's.
I tell you. She's
And you know, Nats, whenever Charlotte and Christian and Ailey are around, they can totally pop into the pastel class, which is on Saturdays at 6 p.m. your time, right?
From time.
5 p.m. room time. So it's every week.
I
Oh, gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Very nice.
All
I
right,
love purple.
let's
Yeah.
get the pink and the white flower in, and then we're going to work on the background. And that's when we start to create the little petal edges, but notice we're not even paying attention to it, because if you look at this background, it gets very like overwhelming, right? And it's really not, but you have to get the flower shapes in before you understand how much background I need to do, right? That's really the key here. So, okay, I'm going to pop this up again. Let's see. So let's start. Well, actually, the one that's the biggest, I think, is this white one. And that's a slightly different, we're going to play that slightly differently, because it's not white exactly.
It's like gray.
It's kind of got a bluish, yeah, purplish, but I'm going to start with white. So I'm starting with white on my base here, just testing. I'm
Okay.
going to see what happens if I drift in a kind of very light blue.
It looks like a
It
whitish
becomes
blue.
ice white. Yeah,
It
bluish ice
becomes
white.
kind of grayish. It's a little bit, right? And particularly if you look here, you'll see there's kind of some bluish. It's a little bit darker here. So wait, so I'm going to start with my white here. So when I've got yellow or white, I will often start with the white and then layer in the blue for my base. You can still see the orange. We're gonna get rid of that when we get the, and you can go back over with more white if you want to.
Can I have some?
So these colors are a little bit too light to really like start with the darkest color. So on all colors except for yellow and white, we'll usually start with dark colors and then we'll layer the lighter ones on top. But in this case, we're going to do both. And it's even tricky enough to see that I'm going to jump in here and it's kind of so light you can't even really see it. I'm trying to decide if I want to jump in with the color. I don't really want to move you to the background yet. I have this kind of golden brownish. It's fairly dark. I'm going to use it on the side here, just so I can read. I can see.
Just
My-
kind of to give a bit of edge to the,
Yeah, just so I can see it, right? So I'm not going to put it anywhere else, but I'm just going to put it. You don't have to use exactly this color, but if you've got kind of a deep, rich brownish green.
Brown.
brownish green, yes. Hold on, I
Brownish
think-
green. Oh,
Hold on.
Right,
okay.
and then of course, I can do
Mhm.
my little dots, my 3 little dots that are up here.
Okay, yeah, that happens down brownish green.
Right? I can kind of layer that in. Right now, talking about cartoon characters, it looks like Casper the Ghost.
Like this, maybe.
And I'm taking a slightly, well, let's do it this way. I'm gonna just lay that in the way it is. We're gonna keep that the way it is right now. So that is, for me, that was this blue, this white,
Sorry. Here, try
and
this.
then this green on the outside.
Can I
Here.
do it brown?
She's using it. Yes. This is very dark, it's a dark grey.
This is black.
That really helps our light flower come out.
It's like
So this is how we use our backgrounds. We use our backgrounds to kind of showcase the flowers, right? So that's kind of how we decide how much detail to put in. And then we'll do this pink one last. Sorry, I wanted you to see this. Here, hold on.
I'm gonna have a dark, like a brownish green. that I
Yeah,
can-
she's using one.
Okay, Lee, when you're done, can I borrow?
Here we go. And here are all the colors. So what's really great about pastels is that a lot of these similar techniques we use for painting, particularly acrylic and oil painting. We use the mixing technique to create mixes. We have a base that is different than what you see on top, right? We have a base that is like not the colors that you see on top that supports the top colors. Because one layer of color is flat, just doesn't look right.
Uh-huh. Can you give that back to?
Yeah,
Rumi?
when she's done, I
Oh,
need to.
okay.
But
put
I needed to.
Yeah, but-
some.
What,
it's
it-
hers.
It's
There you
hers.
go.
You can split it in half, split it in half.
We're splitting these ones in half, don't worry, love. This, we have a 7-year-old who,
It's very impatient.
By the way, you guys are doing great. Absolutely fabulous.
thank you. love.
So these are my 4 pastels. If you're trying to see them, these are my 4 pastels that I used for this, that include the background.
Mhm.
So what's really also nice about drawing and painting is that you don't have to start with too much detail. You can kind of simplify things into simple shapes and
Oh,
forms.
yeah.
And then later, huh?
I was drawing in art class
Yeah.
and I was just doing we were meant to draw a castle and I was just doing the main shapes of the castle. And then my classmates were looking at my drawing like, oh my God, that's so
What's
dressy."
wrong with that, right? And you're like, it's just because you guys don't know.
And the class started adding in the details like, oh my God, Charlotte, that's so cool. Why did you leave me behind? Like, come on, I thought we would be bad at drawing together.
Right. And you're like, because I just learned how to draw. It's like saying, I don't know how to, I'm not naturally born to handwrite. Let's see, Ailey. Looks great, honey. That looks perfect. It looks great. You got it. Absolutely. And also there's this kind of awkward stage at the beginning where it looks too simple. And that's what our brain is resisting. Our brain, our left brain, our verbal conceptual side, the language brain that we're in all the time wants to see this more detail more quickly. And so you're fighting it, like you're fighting it. But I like to say it like this. If you're building a table with very beautifully carved legs, you don't start by carving a beautiful leg. You start by chopping 4 blocks of wood and making sure they are the same size so that your table isn't wonky. And you cut a slab of wood that goes on the top to make sure it fits on those. Before you add any details, you start with this basic shapes, right? This basic blocking in and of pieces. Otherwise, your table could be uneven, it could be, and we do the same things with our drawings and our paintings. And that's the thing I think people aren't used to seeing. So I like to say drawings and paintings go through an awkward stage until they don't. But as you said, Charlotte, what will happen is it'll look like magic. You'll just add 2 or 3 details and then people are like, holy crap, it's finished, right?
Yeah. It's because all my classmates always start with the details first.
Yeah, everybody does. Every single human being who knows how to handwrite and draw and paint, that's what everybody does. And it's the wrong way to do it. You won't have success that way because you're starting from, anyway, it's just a different thinking system. So you can be the one spreading the word. By the way, how's Emma doing? Are you liking her as a teacher?
Yeah, she's nice.
Isn't she nice? She knows a lot too, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does.
She knows everything. I know. I hear you guys are doing mouths today. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I think we are.
And then I think you're going to do the whole face.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
what we're planning on
I would
doing.
love that
I know,
too.
right?
We should
No,
do that
Christian,
too.
who, because, you know, the narrative is that Charlotte's the artist and the rest of us are rubbish.
Christian's doing great though.
No, that's the narrative. That's the story, darling.
Yeah.
And so Christian goes everywhere with a sketchbook or a notebook and he's just drawing. And so he spent like a week just drawing eyes because I think
Fabulous.
in the classes.
Now
Yeah,
he's getting really good at it. It's really good.
so sweet. I love
Yeah, I still have
Oh,
my.
I want to do that.
Are we ready to go on to the last one and then start work in the background?
Yeah, let's do it, Charlotte.
So I'm looking at this. It's kind of pinkish. And I'm wondering if my same base, this orange base, will work. I don't know. I can't remember. So I'm going to try it down here. This orangey base. And then I'm going to use
Have a disease.
some pinks on top of it. This is
So what color
pretty-
do you have to start with?
The base,
What's the base color?
the same one you used before, darling.
The
I'm
brown.
using the base. I think I'm testing it to see if it works. What
That's
do you
my
guys
yellow, Ailey.
Guys, I can't hear her if I hear you. Okay.
What do you guys think?
It's too pink. No.
I think it's too pink. Yeah, and it's a little too dark. So I was actually wondering if maybe the orange that I drew with might work as a base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does my orange go?
And then I'm adding a little bit of pink. Oh yeah, I think that's better.
I think you do
Can
this
you
one.
pass me a napkin, please?
And then I'm adding a little bit of white to kind of lines. I think this is better. I think this one is better.
Oh, it's.
Play with
I
it.
think it's
Play.
this color.
Wait, you layered it with the pink, you said?
Stop, this is
I
yellow right.
watch. I'm gonna do it again. I'll do it slow. Sorry, I go fast. I'm gonna do it slow. I started with this color that I used to draw all the orangey color.
Right.
Then I layered pink on top, and then I layered white on top of that.
Okay, so that's
Let's see. What,
That.
yeah, this
one
here.
I used- This one I
here the-
used the yellow, I used the orange.
excuse
then-
me a moment, Leah, I just need to sell a couple children.
Gotcha. And then I used the white, and I think it's too pink and too dark. So I think this little orange color is better for the base. It's kind of a peachy orange. So I'm laying a peachy orange down first, and then I'm laying a pink on top. And then I'm adding white to kind of lighten it a little bit. And blending all those in. And I think that works better. You're never going to exactly get what, you know, this guy gets. Odilon Radon, ah, I see. And here is that. And then, of course, I can go back in as well, right, with this dark right here. And a little bit of dark right here. And then I'm going to stop there. There's more details, but I'm just going to stop right here. So that's what I found. I found the testing really helped me because I found, oh yeah, that darker color really didn't work well next to my lighter colors. I want you to stay. There we go. Now everybody can see everything. And it kind of helps to cover up the other things that you're working on so you don't get distracted by them. It's another visual spatial trick. You'll find there's all kinds of little tricks to help focus you on the shapes and not distract you, right? Let me see, back up just, that looks pretty good. Is that you, Charlotte? I can't, whose is that? You guys are muted.
Charlotte's, it's Charlotte's.
Charlotte's. You could go a touch lighter, so put a white on top of that. I like the
Okay.
base.
Color it. Hey, wait.
It's great. You got it. You got it, babes. You got it. Absolutely. Let's see the grown-ups now.
Oh,
Almost there.
I just need to put the, yeah.
Perfect. I would go, you want to get a little darker, well, maybe not. I would get a little bit peachier. Do you have a little peachy color you could kind of layer on top of
I
it?
can add a little bit.
I'm done.
Rumi, yours needs to get a little bit lighter. So get
I
a,
can put a lot of white. Yeah.
yeah, put white on top. That looks
White.
great. That looks great, Ailey. You got it. You got it. You guys are doing great. All right.
Okay, and then the pencil color, what color? Did you use black or a different?
Black.
I used black to go in here.
Okay.
It's looking a little like murky, so I might go over with another dark afterwards, but I'm going to decide that later. First, oh, I see. Oh, yeah, I see. First, I'm going to start paying attention to some inner petal shapes. You guys are going to see I'm sketching these in.
It looks like a rose.
Can you see how I'm sketching these in? Just the outer shapes of the petals.
Yeah.
And what you can see is that there's kind of colors in between.
Mm.
So hold on. I'm going to put this here so you can see both.
Charlotte, can you see?
It's like this kind of green that's in here. And it also comes down here. Like kind of a light green. And then it's a little bit darker, so I'm going to use that dark brownish green that I have over
Mhm.
to kind of darken.
Ah.
See how I'm kind of like, and then over here I have white. Look at how I can kind of shape my petal using the little pieces of color around it. If I go too deep, I can just go a little bit more red.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know what I mean? Kind of like reintegrate it. But I'm looking at the background all the way around.
No, for that.
And down here, it's pretty dark. Now I might layer with another color because this is a little bit lighter, right, than what's happening here. But I can definitely start with this dark. So now all of a sudden my flower has a little bit of shape to it.
Huh.
And I'm not trying to, what happens is when we try to draw petals too pronounced and too soon, we make the lines too big. So it's a very kind of, and you'll see this when kids start to learn to do handwriting too. The same thing happens. We don't remember it because we were too young to remember it, but it's very easy to make a curved line too big. We emphasize it. We make it too large. So we try to carve out our little curved shapes rather than start out with them, because if we start out with them, we're going to make them too big. And then the flower, it's not going to be reflective of what's actually happening with these flowers. These are very subtle little choppy pops we've got here. And if I want to finish this flower, here, hold on.
You're bringing it all over us, darling. So
I'm using this kind of dark
thanks, my love.
I need that.
here. See, like that. And then underneath that flower. And then if I want to, I can lay lighters
Oh, can I have
on top in places.
There, you got one.
So I'm gonna put this up here so you can see what's going on. And even lighter, I can go even lighter on top. So see, there's some kind of lighter areas here.
Did you use a red or orange to define, I'm kind of behind, to define the big flower?
What I did was I started doing what's happening in the background.
Yeah.
Back with my top orange to, kind of reinforce, maybe. Yeah, reinforce the red. Because sometimes when you go into, you do this technique, you'll go a little too far, right?
Right.
So I go back in and kind of, so it's a little back and forth that's happening.
No, okay. Ah,
See that?
he said the line down.
Sense, right? It's making sense, I hope.
I understand the logic. I just don't think I can execute it. Does that make sense?
Do your best. You've done this before, Nats.
Yeah, I've got 3 children.
Oh,
Each
I know
child-
you can do it. I've seen you do it. I've watched you do it, so you can totally do it. It may take a
Yeah.
minute.
Like
Perfect.
last August, we were in Scotland, and my oldest friend, Amy, we've known each other since we were 4 or 5, was saying stuff to Charlotte about me in school. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot I did that. Like I literally
Right.
have no idea. I'm like,
Now, obviously, these colors aren't exactly the same as what I've got going on here. At this point, I'm just working with what I have.
okay.
Right. I don't expect absolute precision. It's not really possible. But paying attention to the edges of a thing,
Mhm.
now we start to add in the background, right? Just like we did up here so that we could see our white flower. I'm trying to
Mhm.
up just a touch. There we go. So now you can see everything.
Yes. I'm like, what she said.
Right, I got a little too light here, so I'm going back over with some dark. I want light in some places, but it's a little too much.
Oh, Ailey, nice. Great job, darling.
Yeah. So Charlotte, this is another like little trick you can amaze your classmates with. Really, I like to tell people that drawing and painting is like magic, magician's tricks. We know things that will trick you into thinking you're seeing something different. And if you can learn those tricks, right, then people will be like, wow, how did you do that? Even though it's kind of patently obvious. And by the way, if you're here, you can also come around and do this, right? on this side of this flower.
Mm.
I'm starting with a little bit of dark to shape these things, and then in areas, you'll see, Odilon Rajon is a real master of dark layering, kind of pushing, using color to create a feeling of back and forth. He is actually called a colorist. His shapes are deceptively simple, right? And yeah, Rumi, you'll see I'm now going back kind of over my flower once I've added in the petal shapes. So that
Like,
there's a little bit
right?
more, right? I'm kind of like enforcing them,
Mm.
right? And then in places, things are super dark around the edge. And in places, you'll see they're kind of light. So you use this to help shape your flowers. Maddie, a little bit more dark in here.
Ah, okay.
There's a lot of light around this flower.
Okay.
Villager, Minecraft villager.
It's some dark, but then it's kind of layered over with light. So the other thing that's interesting about art, it's a little tedious. It takes a while, right? We've got to like, it's a little bit on the tedious side. We have to like kind of work different areas. Now as I see this, I'm seeing that this petal is a little bit lighter. So I'm laying a little bit of glue.
You just say you're adding glue?
Little bit of light blue. Just look at what I'm doing, you'll see.
I heard blue too. It's like, what?
Like,
Light blue, super light blue, it's almost white. See that? Because I'm kind of seeing a little bit, I can see that over here, the petals. And so the petal shapes, you'll start to see what's actually shaping the petals. It's a little bit of the background.
Someone took the purple I was using.
The
It was
purple's
the
here?
other half of, it was the other half of this.
Okay.
You're kind of working around. So this is how we do it. It's like almost like carving a sculpture or something like that.
Oh, well, that
We're
would be
looking at little tiny, now we can look at the detail. What I think is hilarious, and I always tell people is, wow, you wanted to start out with the detail at the beginning, and now you're like, I can't see the detail. And I'm like, that's we all want to use it at the wrong place, right?
Yeah.
Use it when we can't really do it. And then when we have the opportunity to do it, we get overwhelmed. We're like, I don't know how to do this. There's a couple of little light lines here that convey petal shape.
Oh, no, sorry.
Here. And here. Can you see them? Not very much, just a little bit. In fact, this is a little.
Yeah,
dark.
they're so subtle. But
Sorry.
when you shape it like that, you shape it all over. So you do it in a bit more gentle way.
You,
Thank you, my love.
Here we go. And I guess at this point, my question is, what's the, oh, my battery's in, hold on. Two things happen at the same time. Here we go, connecting to audio. There we are. All right. Did I, what happened there? Hey, Lotto.
Hey,
Hey, Lado!
I can't believe it. It's been centuries.
It's been forever, look. And
Wow.
and
Hi.
Wow, look at that.
Christian is here. So you've missed, he's with the, this is Lado. You know, when you come into the house, there's a painting.
It's
Another
amazing.
portrait of Lado that we worship every day. No, there's a square painting with a young Churchill on it.
Yes.
Hey, Leah, did I jump at your lesson now?
Yeah, yeah, actually, I meant to send you a text saying that we would be finishing up just at like the time you start.
Yeah.
But then I thought I'd surprise you and get you to see Natalie, who you haven't seen in
Natalie,
a long time.
wait a second. I wanna bring Elizabeth here. Stay where
Yes,
you are.
please.
His lady.
Is
His
what?
Rumi, this is like old home week. We haven't seen each other since we were all together in
This is all the
2006.
Budapest gang?
What's that?
That the Budapest gang?
This is the Budapest gang. Before the children were even a
In our
thought.
imagination. Yeah.
Hey, Theo. You can come say hi if you want to.
You like,
Oh my
mm-mm.
God, I love technology so much. People are like, I hate technology. It doesn't connect us. And I'm like, it just depends on how you use it.
Yeah.
Like if you use it like this,
Thursday.
it's like we've created a third room in which we all meet. Like, and that's the only way we can do it.
So
Oh, Ailey, that's beautiful. You're doing great, honey. Great.
Oh, it's fine.
Ah, there you go, Charlotte. Great. So now, and by the way, I love the vibrancy of your purple flower in particular. It's quite beautiful.
oh, right. Uh-huh.
I
So
don't know.
now,
Oh,
Yes.
something like that.
there you go. You got it. You got it, Rumi. You got it. So now, I want you to look.
I don't know why on the camera it doesn't look as bright, but yeah.
It's always that way. That's why we have the thread, so we can actually, that's why I sent you things across the thread at various points. The cameras just aren't that good.
The white flower looks like Casper the Ghost, but.
Well, now what you can do is take a look at these lights and try to layer. Yeah, there you go, Nats. You got it. Where's Elizabeth?
She's coming. She's coming. She's the kids. Oh my God! They turn our house into like a playground. It's cold outside, so we are like.
You're trying to make your house, the playground, into a house. You're the problem. See, this is my living room.
I know. It's the same.
And the
Same
Lego
thing.
table. This is
Same, exactly the same. It's like, yeah, I still fighting it with me, but you need to give it.
It's called
I'm giving it
radical
up.
acceptance. Yeah, like even the decoration on my bookcase is Lego Star Wars that Christian made.
Yeah,
Sculptures and exciting.
yeah.
No.
And they building huge constructions. There is like something, the plastic things you can, and so they building like, and
Yeah.
fighting. They're building and they're fighting.
There's even Play-Doh over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, ladies, if you want to hang out and just come into Lotto's class, you can just keep working. I'll be here a little while. Other people are going to join us. This class is very flexible. It's
I need
like
to get her in
Hey,
the back.
Wait, are we done?
Was that our
I mean, technically, our hard stop for the private class ends, but you
But-
can just stay. Stay.
What happened to the small little light colored flower?
Oh yeah, mine is like a little
Didn't
sad.
we leave it out?
What light colored flower?
The smallest one.
The little friend at the
blanco.
bottom.
The little one, you keep working it the same way you work everything else. Here's what I'll do. I'm gonna send across a picture of this close up.
Uh-huh.
You can keep working. So you should stay in class is my plan. I'm gonna jump out of here. Hold on. You just keep working. Oops, nope, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to remove the spotlight and I wanted to.
Natalie, where are you now?
In Rome.
In Rome?
Yeah.
Italy, pizza
Oh,
pasta.
wow. I wish I would be in Rome.
You do say what?
I wish I would be in Rome.
Why? You don't like New York? Are you still in New York?
Nope, well.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
now I'm in upstate New York.
Oh, because you have
Elizabeth works for Cornell now.
Oh, fancy.
They're in Ithaca. Isn't that fascinating?
Nice.
All right.
I wonder if the driving is better there.
Rumi, I'm about to send over a picture of this so you can keep working. I want you guys to keep working. I don't want you to stop. It's just the private class ends here because we have another one starting.
We're almost done.
Here's your source up close in your little group. I'm
We're your
sending-
private favorite
right
guest.
now.
We're obviously gonna stay.
Stay. It's a nice class. It's fun. We call it the conversation. This class is called The Conversation because it's really not just about
Okay, now
kind
it
of
looks.
the master's degree. It's for the,
Come sit down. Natalie, look who's here. Your best friend from Budapest.
Hey, buddy.
Oh,
look at her. Hi.
You sound like you're working though. I don't want to get in the way. How are you? Where
No,
are
we're
you?
just chilling right now. Don't worry.
Natalie's in Rome.
How is
you
Rome?
look exactly the same. How did you do
Doesn't
that?
she? She does. She does. I can attest this because I saw her last year, 2 years ago.
I think you can
You were
probably
like,
see all the white hair that's coming in.
Uh,
I'm getting like streaks.
She thinks it's because of me, but in reality, I'm keeping the eyes.
Oh, Lado, we know the truth. Don't you worry.
Who's this gorgeous fam right next to you? Hi, buddy.
that's me,
Oh, yeah. I
This
can't
is
see
the
you anymore because you
baby,
snuck
the
behind.
baby
Hi.
of the family.
Yeah, this is the baby, Ailey.
The middle child isn't here.
Middle
We left him at the supermarket, so.
We did leave Christian at supermarket, or we left him at church with all of his school friends. Yeah, exactly. He literally wanted to be outside because he's like, I'm not religious, but his whole class are pretty much doing catechism classes.
Yeah,
for-
that happened to my friend too. Yeah.
So he has skipped off with his
With the
friends.
Catholic country we're in.
Yep.
You do look good, Lisa. You do look good.
I can't hear you. What are you guys saying?
I say you look good.
Oh, nice. Good. I'm glad I upped the volume for that. Hello. Yeah, my friend who lives in Germany is in the same spot because they're not religious at all, but all her kids' friends are doing First Communion. And so she's like, I guess that's what we do. And the same thing happened to my other friend who moved to Italy, 20 years ago. All her kids did this. I mean, her kids are now like 17 and 25 or whatever, but they all just like went straight in. They're like, okay, well, that's what we do. It's like the cultural thing to do. It's like living here and everybody thinks I should have my kids play lacrosse. A, no, but
Yeah.
B, the cross, I don't know the rules and it has too much gear and it's unclear when the game ends. And those are my 3 criteria for saying no to something. I have to know how long and there has to be minimal gear. And
By the
then,
way, Jean, this is Elizabeth. This is Lotto's wife. And Elizabeth and Natalie and I all lived in
Hi,
Budapest.
Jenny.
Lotto and I lived in Budapest in 2006.
It's a reunion of sorts, kind of.
So it's
Jenny or
family.
Jean?
Jean is one of my dear friends in New York City.
You have spectacular glasses and plants.
We were.
Wow.
You do have
It's
some
York.
amazing things. Could you?
Hey,
I love that picture in the background. It's
yeah,
gorgeous.
it's really beautiful.
That I did that.
No.
Wow.
Really?
I,
That's
I
beautiful.
saw that last Saturday in my lesson and I said, if this thing is her own creation after taking Leah's